What's happening, people? Welcome to the General Banter Podcast. First of all, I mean, I was just going to start into the podcast there, but then the ads on WeTransfer for a comic that says gay comics. Lesbian and gay men, put it on paper. Anyway, gay comics. Let me tell you something about comic books. All of them are gay. Welcome to the General Banter Podcast, guys. It's the what is it? The 17th of November. Fuck me. Our sponsor today, same as always, manscaped.com. It's one of these. It's a designated machine to shave your dick and bollocks. And, there's been a lot of stigma around it. And we call that toxic masculinity, when you have to pretend like you're a real man because you don't shave your bag, and it's like fucking, what do you call it, Austin Powers, when he's in the hot tub. It's all floating across the top. Now people are talking about it and guys are allowed to groom themselves, for fuck's sake. Get that smooth pouch for your lady or boyfriend. And you can do it with one of these, Manscaped. Manscaped.com. Obviously, the only reason I'm talking about it is because the listeners of this podcast get 20% off if they go to manscaped.com, enter the code GENBANT1, 20% off. They do a load of Christmas bundles. Here's the thing that's not talked about quite enough. They send out a pair of boxers. If you get one of those bundles, they send out boxers with it. The boxers, top notch. They cup, you shave the nuts, you hit them with the fucking toner and the deodorant. Then you put those boxers on, it's like, Your partner will be like, take your underwear off and let me see that pipe. And you'll be like, no, it's fucking so comfy in here. I'd rather just fucking bang the inside of my pants. But mainly you're buying it for the product because it's, anti-snag. It's got a plastic razor thing on it there. It means it's not just going to churn your bag up like a fucking meat, or what do you call that? Like a meat grinder? Like you're making sausages. Your sausage is intact. Your nuts are intact. Okay? Manscaped.com. Enter the code GEMBANT1. And that's it. And then some of my merchandise, this new hat included, will be online. ColinGeddis.com. Get all the general apparel line of stuff. I can sponsor my own podcast with my own fucking clothes. 2020, guys. What next, huh? 5G? But that's it. We'll start the podcast. We've got the long intro on the thing for everyone. A lot of people loving the long intro again. They were like, man, thank God. I unsubscribed to your fucking podcast because you played a short sting of an intro. Then word of mouth got back to me that you actually play the long one now. So I'm back on board. So there it is. And it stops at will.
Banter Podcast with Colin Geddis.
Just start singing along.
This man
Got necklace coffee.
will make your liver quiver. This man will make your bladder splatter. Let's all welcome the world's godfather fool.
Colin Geddis.
It's Geddis, actually.
Geddis.
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 Fuck you. Quality. And do you know when I hit that button, there's a little readout on the screen, tells me like how long's left. Like I'm live on radio. Right, more. I just want to say we did a Patreon podcast last week, and we extracted a clip out of that where me and Mickey slagged off the trailer for what's it called? I forget it every time. Wild Mountain Thyme. Yeah. It was very fucking funny. A lot of people were like, "Man, I shit up my own back." It was it was very funny. But that was from a full episode on Patreon. And by the way, people were like, that clip was, the one that everyone was laughing at, but they were like, the sound effects, so funny, So that's what it's all about, really. It's just that one noise. So we'll get plenty of that. If you're not on Patreon, there's two reasons to get on Patreon. That's one of them. That's the other one. And also that we did a full podcast with Mickey, which is good. But there's hundreds of podcasts on there, bonus ones that weren't publicly released. So if you get over there, you can listen to all of those. You can also get access to some comedy specials and shit like that. And there's just other benefits of being on there, like I'm getting some new merch in. A lot of times I'll put the merch online but I don't post about it publicly, and I'll just put it on Patreon, and the next minute, you know, like the coffee cups, for example, people are like, when are you getting these back in stock? If you're on the Patreon, you'll know, because I'll post it up there straight away. But there was quite a lot of people signing up to the Patreon after that clip went out, because a lot of people hear about it and they go, oh, well, whatever, you got a Patreon, you got extra stuff, I'll do rightly with this one podcast. But then you got to show people, you got to be like, this is the crack we're having over here. We're having good crack over here, man. You want more podcasts? Buy your way in. It's cheap as fuck. You're paying way more for your Netflix, and all you do is fucking click through the titles and don't watch anything, and then pull your wire again. Pull yourself into a point. Or flick yourself into a mush. What was the other one? I forget. But also, welcome to the people who've just signed up. We had a big surge there. I'd say there's about 150 people. Just appeared out of nowhere, looking for more stuff. Hopefully you stay. Also, shout out to some of the people who were getting in contact with me. They were having trouble with the app. I don't know what the crack was, but people were trying to resubscribe, and they were like, this isn't letting me do it. And I was like, oh, I wonder what the crack is. You know, had you signed up before? And people were saying things like, I was signed up, and then I lost my fucking job during the lockdown. And then I've resubscribed now that I've got a job again. So fucking shout out to those guys, you know? And fuck the pandemic. It's a disaster. I mean, I seen a thing that's like, it was the most 2020 thing I've ever seen. And it was, someone had liked this on Twitter. And it was a picture of a car that had been clamped. And it was and obviously, like, everyone had retweeted this woman. I clicked into the woman's profile to see which it was, and she was, you know, like some nurse or doctor or something that was like worked at Great Ormond Street, was like something to do with, you know, children's oncology and hematology at the fucking Royal, and they clamped their car in the car park. Hey, go to jail. Is that not the fucking worst shit you've imagine? And do you know what fucking upset me the most? The fact that it was like a wee polo, like a wee shitty polo. You know what I mean? You're like, surely if you were the fucking, you know, head fucking whatever of children's hematology and all this shit, you should be on fucking 200 grand a year. Minimum. You know, working your fucking 14-hour shifts, absolutely exhausted, coming out in the middle of the night, and some fucking dickhead has clamped your car. I would straight up refuse to do. I would be like ringing around my friends, being like, does anyone have bolt cutters and a hacksaw? Because this can go fuck itself. Disgusting. Imagine putting that on, like, just with no fucking. I mean, it's just to me, it's like common sense, really, isn't it? You'd be going, there's a car here. You know, either someone has abandoned it in an emergency, or someone maybe is in work and has overstayed the time because they work in a hospital and you don't know what's going on, and they're always understaffed and underpaid and all that shit. And they're like, yeah, but we have to fill a certain quota, so we'll just stick a fucking clamp on it anyway. Bro, next time you take the clamp off, bash your face against it. You fucking retard. Unbelievable. Anyway, here we are with some good news last week. As you know, Maureen, my wife, was receiving some chemotherapy, and she had there fucking flies over her. She had a PET scan, and they were able to tell her, they were like, right, as of now, you're cancer free. So, and we celebrated, and by that I mean she couldn't really celebrate or drink, and I drank like fuck and got absolutely hammered. I went, congratulations, I'll see you tomorrow at 3 o'clock. And the big man was fucking chugging pints, you know? Your health is getting better, let me fucking shit on mine. Pow, 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 pow. Because our family have it's weird to look at from the outside. Even my sister, who, you know, she lives in Lisburn, but she'll see how we all hang about, because everyone lives within a fucking like 100-meter distance of each other. So me and Maureen and her sister, and then her parents and her other sister lives there, and now our other sister moved back. So there's about fucking 9 people who are in the same bubble, and everyone's fucking quarantined, and everyone knows where everyone is, but it looks like a lot of people. So we're able to have like miniature parties all the time. And even my sister will be like, do you think I have COVID or something? Can I not fucking come down? And then I pretend like it is COVID is the issue, and I go, yes, we're trying to be really safe. Don't fucking come down here. We're no drinking crack. Boring. Fuck's sake, know what I mean? Fuck off. So I did a pile of drinking. And I'll tell you what, you know the way you get a lot of those people and they're like, man, I just hit a point in my life where I just didn't like who I was when I was drunk. I love who I am when I'm drunk. I have no problem being drunk. I don't like the person I am after I drink, you know? Because, you know, I can come on here and be all fucking positive and, yeah, man, all creative and all this shit. See, when I've got a hangover, I'm like, tell everybody to cancel everything. I quit comedy. Cancel all my dates. I'm getting a wee flat by myself. You don't want me around here. Being a bad father, I'm gonna leave. I'm just gonna fucking stand in the corner with a blanket over me and eat chicken balls till... I can't deal with it anymore. I literally feel like... Now, when was the last time you were hammered?
Halloween.
This year?
Yeah.
Hammered?
No, not really.
No?
No.
Just had drinks, really? Did you dress up?
No.
Just fucking 2 drips of blood out your mouth. Fully dressed normally. Just you with a bin bag on. I'm a witch, bitch. No, I fucking... Every time I drink now, I'm like, yep, that took something off my life. I'm at that age now where I'm just like, that took 2 days off me there. And I like it when I'm drinking. I'm like, this is great. You know, we're having good fun. It was a real fucking celebration. And then everything after that, I was just like, no, that fucking... And then, you know, you're so lazy, you just eat a bunch of shit and sit and watch TV all day. And then once your hangover fades away at nighttime, I'm just sitting there like restless, like I've just been sitting in my hole all day. Because for a fat cunt, I don't like doing that too much. But yeah, oh my god. But this is the thing, that Maureen's dad got you see, there's a lot of bars that are like struggling, obviously, because they can't serve anybody. So they're maybe, luckily, some of them have an off license. And then there's one near us, and we just bought kegs off the woman and got a pump. And I don't know where the pump came from. Some say it was relocated illegally. But there's a fucking Guinness tap in the house, like, which is just, you do that thing where you know, like if you get a pint of Guinness and there was no chiller, so it was cold Guinness, but it wasn't like super cold, which I actually nearly prefer. It was like a wee bit not warmer, but not as cold. But you don't want like a full pint, you know, because by the time you get to the end of it, it's gross. So you get yourself a sort of European medium-sized cup, and you're like, oh, half pint, and you're like, you keep doing that thing where you're like, just get the wee half pint. And before you know it, you've had 47 half pints, you know, and you're like, you got any crisps? Fucking steaming. Very nearly smoked. You know, everyone started smoking inside as soon as the parents went to bed, and I was like, I can still roll cigarettes. And everyone's like, no! And then I woke up, you know, the next day with my clothes. I didn't smoke, but my clothes were so stinking that it was like, oh my God, imagine what I feel like now if I just smoked a wee fucking cigarette. I think I'm at the point now of haven't smoked for that long that I probably could smoke. Just one. Or when I'm drunk even. Because I'd be so hungover, I would be put off it anyway. But, yeah, I can't drink anymore. I don't like it. Unless like, maybe that's why Americans drink like that, where they just take shots. You know, they're like, yes! And they do like shots of tequila, and then the rest of the time they just have like a bottle of water and a vape. And then they're like, yeah, more shots, clink. But I don't know. I'll probably get really good at that too. Colin, how many shots do you have last night? And I'm like, I don't know, man. What's £400 worth of shots? that amount? Just big old sticky arms and shit. I don't know. So yeah, we did a miniature celebration. It was good times. What else has been happening this week? I don't know. Unless something happens on the news, you fuck all to talk about, really. Just anti-vaxers running around. Hey guys, they know this thing killed a lot of people. We're working on a vaccine. No thanks. All those people. No thanks. I don't want a vaccine. I actually pulled up this thing. I didn't read it yet. Conspiracy theories about COVID-19 have been circulating since the start of the pandemic on the baseless theory, or one baseless theory, which has been dismissed by Microsoft co-founder Bill Gates is stupid, is that the outbreak is a cover for him to plant microchips in billions of people to track their movements. He is wild fucking mouthy about health all of a sudden, isn't he? I think it's literally gonna become like a class type thing, isn't it? Once they do that, they'll be like, "Oh, do you live in a place that is worthy of microchipping you? Because you're the only person that's gonna get the right to fucking vote and do anything, get a job and stuff. And if you're one of these fucking tramps who can't afford a microchip, enjoy the bat soup." Another is that the pandemic is is there a vaccine for me fucking being able to read? Another is the pandemic is a hoax and a ploy by pharmaceutical companies to sell a vaccine. What a long fucking walk to the well that is. Whichever firm develops the vaccine is likely to profit from its success, but there's no evidence to support the theory the pandemic has been made up. One which has also raged on through the pandemic and has led to arrests over arson attacks was the deployment of 5G radio antennas. It was linked to the spread of the virus. I just think people don't realize how fucking vulnerable and shit humans are. You know, like, this is all a hoax and a fucking whatever. I mean, you know, it's like a fucking, if birds get a flu, like bird flu, that avian flu thing, and you're just like, well, you put a load of birds together, they all die, and people think that somehow they're different to fucking animals. They are. They can get, medicine quicker and fucking whatever, but people just, it's not going to take much to fucking make loads of people sick. The cold fucking rips through the country every year. The flu does. You know, anytime a fucking something new like a COVID pops up, it's gonna rip through everybody. There's a ton of shit has ripped through a ton of people in history, like, and they sort of figured it out. And there's a lot of stuff that you get a vaccine for that you're just like, when was the last time someone was like, "Fuck, wild dose of the mumps kicking about"? There's just certain shit you don't get anymore. Fuck. Our P7 class got the smallpox. There's things that kind of they wiped out, and now people are like, "This one's different. This one's fucking different." And then of course you get the whole people here like, "Oh, you'd sniff coke out of a fucking tramp's anus, but you won't take a vaccine. You'd fucking take a dick through a fucking glory hole in your naked anus, but you won't take a fucking vaccine. Oh, you'd get fucking spit roasted by two fellas out the back of your Corsa, in a fucking park somewhere, and you won't take a vaccine." And we'll let those people die, because who needs them? I just think, I've talked about this before, because I live with, someone who's getting chemotherapy and is immunocompromised, they'll probably have to get it, which means I'll probably have to get it. But, it'll be fairly black and white with these anti-vaxxers, where they're gonna put a chip in you. Well, when you're in your fucking rural medical practice and there's a fucking 60-year-old nurse called fucking Denise, and you're gonna let Denise fucking fire microchips into you, or does she just have 60 of them to do that day? He's like, "Well, let's crack that down. No fucking any crack going holidays. Haha, sure, no one is. Bang. Next." She's not going to give a fuck. Bill, she just fucking sticks it in your arm. "Bill sent that." Now Bill Gates knows where you are. You'd be like, I'll tell him where I am myself. The house, the office, the office. That's it. Pretty much. Bill Gates. Your fucking everything you have is trash, man. Microsoft Word. Talk about crimes against humanity. When was the fucking last time you tried to use Microsoft Word? Jesus fucking Christ. I've used a lot of programs in my time. You know, we did fucking 3D design in uni, tried to learn that. Fucking Illustrator, InDesign, Photoshop, Final Cut, fucking a lot of different versions, you know. What's the other one called? After Effects, all that shit. Worked in a production place using all that there. You got fucking Microsoft Word open, and you're like, how do I make a fucking table? Never mind fucking Dan from a vaccine. I'm trying to make my title bold. I'm gonna fucking what do you call that shit? Harry Carey. Just fucking cut my guts open and throw them all on my shitty fucking laptop. Not in the fucking paper clips in the corner going like this. Wanker! Fuck off. Microsoft Word is the biggest cunt of oh my god. And you're just like, almost approaching the end of my essay, and the whole just not even a warning, like, oh, by the way, that crashed. Not even a crash report, just, hey, Word does that. Sometimes it's there, sometimes it's not. You know, it's like those, what do you call those atom things that you fucking look at? And when you're not looking at them, they don't react. That's Microsoft Word. So if he should go to jail, if they should hang him by his feet and fucking cut his Achilles tendons for anything, you know, if they're going to hang him off a set of football posts, you know, in Saudi Arabia for anything, it's for the invented Microsoft Word because it's fucking trash. Never mind your vaccine. He's just trying to help people. You know? With his fucking jumper. So yeah, it's very strange. Do you have TikTok? No.
I have it, but I haven't really.
I keep doing updates. Like, you check stocks. You know, you're an investment man, and I just check. I just check fucking TikTok to see like how close we are to me not even caring if Bill Gates wipes us all out. It's when you get a fucking, you know, like, it's such a fucking, like, all it is can you play the game of attention? And if it gets you more attention to, you know, be a hot girl, you get more attention. You know, if you've pulled your fucking leggings, clean up your moose knuckle, and you're not wearing a bra, and you start doing these dances, and even though you're trying to be cute, you're like, I'm just doing a wee song, and then they do it to like the most ridiculous songs. You know, they're trying to be cute, but the song is fucking disgusting. You know what I mean? Like that girl we played the other week. I'm a little cum slut. There's a girl like doing all these, and they're not even dances. If you were like a dance teacher, you'd be like, well, even dance has gone to shit. Literally, it's just like fucking. There's some rappers like, I like it when my bitch take a shit on my chit, and this girl's like in a nurse uniform with her mates at work. I like it when it felch my jizz from my anus. Someone said the other day, like, we're yet to experience the WAP song in a club. You know, and someone was like, yeah, I don't think the world's ready for that. Bro. It'll be like when they used to play fucking Lethal Bizzle and people were knifing each other. Touch my WAP, lick my WAP, my wet ass pussy. Fuck me. Let's move on to something a little more upmarket, shall we?
Aston Martin DB5 and
So that's picked up now. Niall sent me this video, which says a lot about him. The video's called "The CIA's Fake Scrotum That Hit a Radio." It's a DAB, sir, share.
you just look at it and you just say, oh my God.
So someone has a rubber glove on here and they're holding a, you know, anatomically correct penis. Now the pubes, talking about Manscaped, bro. If the pubes are grey at all, get rid of them. If they're grey, sometimes you do that. Do you ever be like, you know, you take a piss somewhere publicly, like a public urinal, and there's like a pube in it that's like that long, and you're like, where the fuck did that come from? Spot there. You know what I mean? You're like, bro, have you to like part your pubes to get at your fucking stump of a cock? Giant fucking pubes, like.
This is a
You know what I mean? You'd literally be like shampooing it, like you'd be shampooing your hair, just hitting it with a hairdryer and shit.
concealment device that is developed to be worn on the human body.
I remember, and I'm not shaming her because I know it's perfectly natural and all everything. Going like swimming when we were in school with the whatever, and there were like a couple of members of staff. You know, they'd have to send. I think they're like, right, we'll not send the kids with one pedo. We'll send them with 4 teachers, so that, you know, there's a bit of like, there's like 2 women and 2 fellas, but they're like kind of like, well, no one's going to act any weirdness around here because there's 3 of us watching the other 3. Unless they were all in it, I don't know. But then there was one woman who was super like weirdo hippie, and she like really enjoyed swimming. You know, like everyone was like kind of walking around just shouting at kid, keep it, get in the fucking pool, you dick. And I remember like the fucking, you know, the lifeguards who were probably like 2 19-year-olds were like fucking about. This is in Jordanstown University, and they like threw the keys into the diving pool, which is like 3.5 meters deep, and we're like, oh, we need you to go down and get the thing. And I was like, no bother. And I jumped in, and it was like, and then you're like, fuck, it is not that easy to get to the bottom of this pool. And then I grabbed the thing and turned around, and like fucking the top seemed like it was fucking 3 miles away, and I was like, when you get right to the end of your breath holding ability. But anyway, my point is, this girl's arse was hairier than mine, this teacher. Like everyone was shouting about, like she would get in and she would, you know, she would swim for the full fucking hour you were there, and then she would get out, and I mean like, or it looked like me just wearing a swimsuit, just fucking hairy arse, hairy back of the legs. It's natural. It's natural. But Jesus Christ, like, I mean, if you've seen that as a grown adult, you know, when you've been around the block a few times, you'd be like, oh, Jesus. But when you're a kid, you're like, I didn't even know females could have hair beneath their eyebrows. Coffee, not so great cold. Isn't that weird? Coffee, hot, lovely, warm, nice, coldish, gross,
Yeah.
iced, back to nice.
Concealment device. It's designed to
Should I hairy arse? What I'm saying.
hide a small miniaturized escape radio, and I think it's genius.
Sorry.
Radio, and I think it's genius.
So they got a scrotum.
My name is Jackie Isle. I'm the Director of Youth Education here at the International Spy Museum. You know, most people who come to the Spy Museum have a perception of
I would love that. A spy museum? Bro.
spying being very glamorous work. They see James Bond, you know, with his tuxedo and his Aston Martin DB5. And I think that when visitors stand in front of an artifact like this, it opens up their mind to the fact that this line of work requires a great deal of commitment, and maybe putting yourself in some very uncomfortable situations. It's not glamorous work.
I just imagine the dude who has the radio in his dick, and you know, they'll be like, well, we decided we would drop the diamonds off it. And he goes like this. What? Say it again. What are you doing, man? Nothing. This is how I said. Say it again. Just trying to get his crotch near something. What I don't understand is, do your bollocks go in the fake bollocks with the radio? You know, do you hand it off at the station and they're like, cheers, and they have to fucking dip it in like alcohol or something? I'm just waiting for this one to be like, the spy would have to stuff his
When
bollocks
operations officers
down the side of the fake scrotum in the radio.
or spies are caught behind enemy
Or
lines,
Sean Connery, God rest him.
stripped naked and searched.
Where did you look? Just about most everywhere.
Fine actor, not afraid to slap a bitch either.
The one area that was not searched by male security officers, for obvious reasons, was the genital area.
What's the obvious reason? That they didn't want to be a bunch of fruits? That's what she's alluding to there. Obviously, if you're being searched by a male, and you are a male, he wouldn't want to be seen to be being a bit of a maggot, so he would avoid the testis.
It looks like it, yeah.
If you want, back in the day, like, if you don't want your radio to be found, don't be a hot girl and hide it in your bra, because you gotta be like, I'm a security guard. Why are you licking him? Stop.
We don't have any blueprints or notes. What we can assume is that it's made of some type of latex. It's designed to be flexible and comfortable, and it would be glued in place.
You're joking.
I never joke about my work, 007.
We don't know a lot about this item, unfortunately. It spent many years hidden away in Tony Mendez's desk. Tony was the chief of disguise and worked in technical operations.
What a job! The chief of disguise. Imagine, like, there's such a real element to that would get you running to work. You're like, here, I need a fake hand. They're like, fucking Tony's off at day 2. Ring him, see if he'll come in. Tony, man, needs a fake hand here. I'm from my fucking holidays. Or are you? And then he just walks out of the wall dressed as wallpaper.
And his job was to develop tools that spies could use in the field that would help them do their job.
Wow. There's a rat with a USB in it. I'm not joking. Fuck the scrotum. There's a rat and he's got a USB and €100. Is that what you give your nephew for his birthday?
Brilliant.
So
Why have you got a rat in your pocket? For no reason. It's my pet. Do you have a USB in the rat? No.
part of the prototyping
No, I don't.
process would be that you'd have to try the technology out.
It has to be a first time for everything.
The story goes that he had one of his tech ops officers, someone probably quite low level, wear the scrotum concealment into a meeting with Director Helms, Dick Helms, who was the director at that time. And this operations officer had to drop his pants, and show the scrotum concealment device.
Good God.
At which point, Richard Helms, who was a pretty prim and proper man, turned completely red, blushed, and left the room.
You have exactly 35 minutes to get properly dressed, 007.
Needless to say, this item never made it out into practice.
Oh,
My
fuck
guess is
off.
that he molded it on someone's actual anatomy so that it could fit. We know that he took nose molds, and we have some of the nose molds.
They didn't even use it. Do you know what? I'm upset now.
Boo.
They didn't even use it. Like, they just fucking were like, because, oh, there's so many good videos when you type in scrotum. There's so many good ones. Examination of the scrotum. You don't want to, you can have a horizontal bollock. Now, here we go. Man gets £100 growth removed from scrotum. Let's get after it.
Listen up, UK. It's time
Shut up, Anthony Joshua. You bastard. Listen, we're going to have to pull this back. We thought there was going to be some interesting info about the scrotum there. Turns out they never even fucking used it. I had questions. Did they put your own scrotum in with it? Was the radio for receiving or broadcasting? Because we've got a lot of fucking equipment in here, but we don't have a scrot mic, which we should get for next time Mickey's in. You can talk into my bag the whole time, know what I mean?
Come back. So it'd be
Now we're talking.
go out.
Man gets £100 growth removed from scrotum.
It may never come back. So to be home is like, I made it home.
After being in California for over 2 months, Dan Maurer is glad to be back in Michigan. He's over 100 pounds lighter and excited to be wearing shorts.
These are shorts I had like
Now, he's £100 lighter and he's still £800. So it's all good, baby.
8 years ago.
It may seem insignificant, but to Dan, it's a big deal. This is what he looked like back in July.
Jesus!
He was forced to wear long pants to hide his enlarged scrotum.
Yes, here's what I will say. Not doing much hiding. He was forced to wear pants to hide this thing the size of a beanbag.
A few weeks later, he planned to meet with a surgeon at UC.
The guy's like, I'm just so relieved to be wearing shorts. The guy's house is like, so what you would expect if you were a guy who was, morbidly obese who didn't leave. Just nice blankets, Nice blankets everywhere. I've got a blanket on this surface when I get up and I fall on this surface, and then when I get up over here, I got another blanket.
Medical center to see about getting the growth removed.
Can you see that? I used to have that laptop, that Dell. He's wearing New Balance, of course. And the funny thing is, whenever this video was put out, 2014, he'd have been wearing New Balance because they're like, for orthopedic reasons. They'd been like, you weigh a lot, so wear these New Balance for like a nice, bit of support in the arch and everything. and you would have looked at those shoes at the time and went, these are absolutely ghastly. And now, they're probably fucking £400. Those black fucking New Balance. I don't even know what number they are. 5 something.
We can do it in 2 weeks.
This is the type of shoe like Aaron McCann would send me on Instagram and be like, fucking look at the drip on that, lad. This guy's dripping. I mean, the guy looks like me.
And in no
Shout out to me if I had hair.
way was I expecting that soon.
Dan's surgery was set for late August. When he got to the hospital, doctors...
Look at that! Oh, do you know what's really sad? The guy has... Do you know what the weirdest part of that is there? He's got a laptop on a table, and then he's got like 3 spare tables behind that are the same. Why has he got that?
You must go through them.
Yeah. Just in case he gets up and his ball bag swings over and just smashes it to bits. He's like, Mom, I smashed another table with my testis. And he's wearing a t-shirt with a dragon on it. Standard! Poor bastard. I mean, we laugh that when you're that fat, it is absolutely 100% mental illness. You know? Jesus Christ, the guy's big. And, there's nothing more obese than having a mouse with the tracker ball on it. Oh, yeah. You know what I mean? That's the most obese thing in that.
So I still had like a flap of skin that hung down.
It'd be some crack if he's like, I'm finally getting this growth removed. And they go in, they take the growth out, and they're just like, oh, well, we'll leave you with the sleeping bag of cock meat just hanging there.
Even once they were to remove the scrotal lymphedema, I would still have problems urinating, cleaning, keeping that area clean. So they're like, you know what?
I dare say you had those problems. Anyway.
Remove this area so we don't run into problems.
The day of Dan's surgery was an emotional one. He talked to his wife and mom, who were by his side.
That I loved him. That I felt that this was the best way forward to have a future with my family.
We had prayer together.
Keith Flint, R.I.P.
And I said, it's going to be okay.
Terrible. Show the wife. I want to see the wife.
The surgery lasted 16 hours and it was considered a success. When he woke up, the growth and extra skin were gone.
The scrotal lymphedema itself weighed 80 or 85 pounds, and then the appendectomy was like another 25, 30 pounds.
Dan lost over
I mean, if you what's 85 pounds in kettlebells? Let me see. lbs to kilograms. 1 pound, so 85. 30. I mean, like if you were doing swings with a fucking 38k kettlebell, pull it back out of you. And this guy's running around with a fucking just exercise ball between his nutsack. What time is it? How long have I been talking for?
38.
Too long, baby. Right, hang on. Bro, let me just see that he's crying at the end. Let me see the bit where he's crying at the end so they're going to finally come.
100 pounds, but there was a complication from the surgery.
Wondering why my legs were
I love the way there's like marker on his leg. Like the doctors went, it's this side. By the way, in case you were to fucking take a look at the the left leg and go, I don't see the problem. Scan over to the left, you'll see an 85-pound.
That's not right.
Doctors disturbed a nerve, and Dan had trouble walking.
Essentially, I'm going to have to reprogram my legs to walk again.
And the fact that Dan couldn't walk presented a whole new challenge for him here at home. His dad and some friends from church had to construct this ramp so Dan could get into his house.
There was times when I'd call either my friends or family, and I'd just break down. Because it's been probably the hardest thing I've ever done in my life.
Despite Dan's new challenges, he says he wouldn't change a thing. He says he...
Are you sure you wouldn't change a thing, Dan? Anyway, that didn't really end happily at all. It was just the guy going, this is the hardest thing I've ever done in my life. Out of the 2 things I've ever done in my life. Right, okay. One more. We'll have one more. This guy hasn't went through puberty yet. We need something funny, like, don't we?
Introducing Peloton.
Oh, fuck off. There's an ad for some bullshit. For fuck's sake. Let's do it.
We've all gone through. It's not always easy talking about puberty. Now, puberty brings body changes. It can feel confusing, even...
Let's hear him talk.
My name is Brandon. I'm 26 years old and I have not hit puberty yet. I haven't had any facial hair growth, very little arm hair, leg hair, very little penile growth, very little testicle growth, no change in my voice. It affects everything I do from the moment I wake up until I go to bed. I have no dating life at all. I have no sex drive at all. I like women, but...
No worries then.
Yeah, no worries.
I've got no sex drive and I've had no dates. Dead on, man.
No worries.
I don't really have a drive to go and pursue them. Everyone's different from me. I don't feel like I'm at the maturity level I need to be. I don't...
It's very strange. It's very strange because the guy is like the face of a kid and talks like that. And he's like, I have no sex drive and no testes. But then he's 6'5" by the looks of it.
I don't look like a guy.
Guy's huge.
I don't feel like it physically. I don't like to go.
It just looks like a trans woman. You know what I mean? Like a sort of...
I don't like to be seen.
Just cut your hair off and wear...
Look
Look at the fucking height of the country, tiny head and all.
And they don't like
Like two people.
They think I don't have any
Two people.
That guy looks like 3 midgets in a coat.
I didn't think it was an issue.
And I feel terrible today. There's a lot of they'll be like, oh, Geddis' new podcast where he shits on the disabled. Just like every other week. I mean, the guy's probably like, like I have very little testicle growth and I don't have a lot of sex drive and I don't get a lot of women. I bet you get a lot done though. Not like the rest of us fucking pulling ourselves into a point. Fucking pulling ourselves under a fucking campfire. The amount of friction. That's the work. Yeah, we'll move on from that before, someone takes a segment out of that and sends it to Nolan. Is this man honestly making fun of somebody who hasn't fucking got a scrotum? Eating skips. Our second sponsor and the OG sponsor before we hit the questions is, of course, Flow CBD. Every fucking week. Flow CBD LTD.com. People message me, they go, man, what's the stuff called again? I'm like, it's CBD oil. Buy it. It helps with inflammation, helps you sleep, helps you do a whole bunch of shit. It's a food supplement you should just be taking it every fucking day. The way you take your fucking vitamin C's. Get it in your body. Keep it lubed up. Keep yourself flowing, man. If you're on my Patreon, you'll get a code there for 10% off. And there'll be a link in any description that you're using to get some of this. They do gummies now, which are fucking, a bit too tasty. They shouldn't have made them that tasty. Because you're like, oh, I had a whole packet of them, and the packet cost, let's face it, a fortune for 16 sweets, but they're laced. They're laced up. But it's great. It's great stuff. The best tasting one I've ever tasted, you go to a fucking chemist, and you're like, if you got CBD, they'll get you some fucking boiled down bong water, which is usually shit, but this one is minty and delicious. So get on it, guys. Flow CBD LTD. Up the fucking hoods. We have a lot of questions. I'm gonna pick out some interesting ones. There's so many, man. Sorry, I'm just picking these. I'll quick fire some of them. Jesus Christ. Also, the picture that I posted on Patreon was a picture of me after I'd bitten a wooden fork in half, like a fat bastard. How's the dad going, Colin? I bit a fork in half. And I'm laughing at the guy with the 100-pound scrotum. Not far behind you, big lad. It is funny when the guy's like, at least I'll have a future. And you're like, bro, there's a lot of weight to be lost before you're going to have any sort of future. It says me, but... when will Aaron I'll quick fire some of these. When will Aaron make his return? Soon enough. Obviously his father passed away, sadly. And then he was on a bit of a secondary lockdown there. So, but hopefully in the next couple of weeks, he was supposed to be on today, but then he went on some sort of gaycation with his friend Tim. But what's more important? You tell me. Did my computer just die? Did that just die? You must. It didn't run on battery, did it?
There's the charger.
I'll tell you what. The charger's right here, but fuck it, I've got it on the phone. But this computer's been doing a lot of fucking recently.
Need a new one.
Yeah. Delete all the fucking porn off it. I love the way that's the joke, isn't it? What's it full of porn? No, there's no porn on it because you can get all of the porn anywhere. Okay. Also, shout out to the guy who sent me. It was, look at that, Geddis Plumbing,
Nice.
and then it says Geddis a plumber on it. Shout out to them. Someone was like, "Is your wife been doing a bit of work on the side, hush you?" By the way, I just remembered I saw a video today where, and the person in the video died, which is like, do you know what? I was gonna have some sort of celebration that we got 1,500 people on Patreon, but it has jumped too far over it now. For it to be legit, anyway, you know what I mean? You're like, guys, as soon as we hit 15, it's 1,520. Okay, never mind. So there you go. Oh yeah, I saw this video, and it was somebody at a gun range, and I mean, this was like, talk about Colin's viral reference again. Remember like the Darwin Awards where it would be like, classic vintage viral. The Darwin Awards. This guy is at a gun range, and he's like, say that's the gun. He's literally like, "Oh, it don't work," and his like wife or something sitting here, and he goes like, "Oh, I can't fucking work out. No, what's going on?" Pff, straight through his arm, into her, right? And he's going like this, like my arm, and the blood's just hitting the floor because he shot through his arm. Meanwhile, the wife's like, fucking Saving Private Ryan, guts everywhere, and then it just said at the end of the video, the woman died. But it was one of those, was it a Sheepdog Project or something, like one of those, defend yourself pages. And the guy was like, this is like rule number 1 of the fucking, if that was me and I was inexperienced, I would go, and it didn't work, I would go, I don't know how to work at. Yeah. And this guy's like, I'll fucking get it to work. Pfft. Imagine doing that. Like, I would just go, oh well, fucked it up. Shoot myself in the head. Disturbing. I love the way I read the whole way through it, and then just at the end, the woman died. Shouldn't laugh like, but it's terrible. Right, let's hit these questions. Load up. Let's go. What's the sexiest accent in the world, and also what is the sexiest in Ireland? There isn't any sexy ones in Ireland, unless you're like the girl from Peaky Blinders, like a very slight, like, oh yeah. Let me lick your taint. That sort of husky, vaguely southern accent. Not up here, anyway. I mean, like the Derry accent would literally make you put your erect penis back in your pants and leave. No harm days. I lived there for a while. Jesus Christ. Are you keeping up with Action Bronson's weight loss journey? Man, I'm glued to it. Saw his Insta post the other day, and he's in so much better shape, hitting those box jumps and deadlifts. Inspiring stuff. Yeah, I mean, yeah. Fair play to him. I mean, it looks to me like he probably lives near a gym and just goes every day and has like a select amount of people personal training him and really pushing him, which is kind of what I need, because I've tried I've been to fucking gyms where they do group training. I've tried to train by myself. I've tried to fucking do online coaching. None of that shit works for me. I need to be like some drill sergeant type cunt that's like, turn up here, we're gonna fucking go through this, and I'm up your ass every day. But yeah, I mean, it's good to even see someone like getting a lot fitter, from being like a fat cunt who just like walked to a van, smoked joints, and then walked to the next restaurant. He actually looks like he can function, but then the fat falls away and it reveals the fact that Action Bronson's 4'11". Tiny wee, just, I mean. But great rapper, big fan. Are you watching I'm a Celebrity? No, halfway through first episode, absolute bollocks. Well, I'll tell you what the problem is. There's no like Americans or anything, because they're having to shoot it in wherever the fuck they are, Wales or something. So it's fucking bollocks. What's the biggest thing you've learned from being a dad? That I really should have made the most of my time before I had a child and lockdown came. What have I learned? I mean, it's brought to light the fact that like you have to have your shit together because you have a small child who's very impressionable. You know what I mean? Like, obviously he's just learning how to do different things now, but he will mimic you. Like, every time he sneezes, I'll laugh at him because it's funny. Because sometimes you'll be feeding him porridge and you just go and just fucking dust the place. Like, but if he sneezes, I laugh, and then he goes, and then to get me to laugh, he'll go like this all the time, and you're like, that's all it takes. You know, he grabs the remote for the TV. We don't want him to fucking take the back off, because straight away he learned to take the back off the remote and pull the batteries out, and you don't want him eating the fucking battery. So if he's going for the remote and then he's so impatient, he's like, give me it, and I have to go, all right, and then I take the fucking batteries out, like slap them out like this and put the thing back on, and I give it to him, and then he takes the remote and will be like, as if to go like, and then does this to the TV. But he's learned that like, oh, daddy does that to take the batteries out, so I have to, before it works, I have to be like. And then the other day, he hates getting changed or dressed or anything, and we don't give him like tablets or phones or anything. The only time I do it is if I'm changing him, because normally you set him on his back and he's like, right, I'm away, and he's like a big shitty arse and wiping it all over the carpet. But I'll put on like a wee Pingu or something, and I'll hold, or like there's like a wee vegetable rave thing that we watch, and he just grabs the phone and watches it. But I put it on the guided access, so it's locked, right? And he's watching it calmly, and I'm like changing him, whatever. And then an ad comes on, and luckily I'd got a nappy on him at this point. Bolts up, like sits right up, crawls over, grabs my hand, and I went like this, and then he took one of my fingers, just grabbed one finger and put it on the phone to be like, this isn't what I was watching a second ago, and I know that when you touch it, it fixes it. And I was like, this is freaky as fuck. So, you know, you really gotta fucking bite your tongue anytime you want to swear out loud or fucking be angry or do something stupid, because you know it's only a matter of time before like the kid starts doing it, and then you see people on TV going like, I've no fucking idea why my childs are so fucking crazy. Really? And you also said childs? All right, man. So yeah, the biggest thing I've learned is you gotta have your own shit together quite a bit, because your children are just gonna copy you. They don't do what they're told, they do what they're shown, okay? And I read that somewhere, and I don't know where, but it makes sense. What watches do you have, and what was the Rolex you mentioned a few weeks ago? Nothing really fancy, just a pile of fucking Seikos. What's that? Seiko Samurai? Bunch of those. You know what I mean? Bunch of fucking G-Shocks. Bunch of fucking bollocks. Nothing really fancy. I was gonna get a Rolex Explorer 2, but kind of went off at big style. And now I'm just shopping about. Just like looking at stuff. I was looking at some Omega Aquaterra chronographs. Nice. But then again, I don't really do nice. You know, there's a lot of watches that are really nice, but they would look stupid on me. I need to get the fucking, you know, like murdered out fucking combat watch that has a knife in it before it looks normal on my arm. So, anyway, rattling on through. Molly, thoughts on Reece McKee getting bait again? Only 3 fights to go. He's like a man with the wheelbarrow now. I don't know what the fuck that means. I need to watch that fight. I think it was a good fight. I haven't seen it yet. Because it was on in the middle of the night. Did you watch any of the Masters? No. Is that golf? No. What podcast do you listen to besides comedy or Joe Rogan? I mean, it seems pretty obvious, but I've been getting into those conspiracy guys quite a bit, because I thought for some reason that you had to. It just sounded like too much to. You're like, where do you start? But you can kind of start anywhere, because each one is kind of themed or has a different topic. So you can kind of just listen to the most recent one and then scroll back down and pick the ones that you fucking have some interest in. I was listening to one on the way up there where he was talking about to some guy from QAnon. And you're like, I don't want to slip down the rabbit hole and be one of these fucking conspiracy theorists. At the end of but the thing is, you know, a lot of it's not really even conspiracy. It's just someone has done a bit of research and it's actually just true. But again, where do you start? Who the fuck? Is there like a QAnon for dummies? Send it to me. I've been listening to a lot of Tim Dillon. There's all the podcasts I listen to, everyone's either, you know, raped or sexually assaulted a minor. You know, Fighter and the Kid, Chris D'Elia, all that shit. I don't listen to that anymore, obviously. But even the Fighter and the Kid one, I've basically narrowed it right down to like fucking Tim Dillon, some Joe Rogan, conspiracy guys, and that's about it. Trying to listen to more books, you see. Colin Hines. How's the car going? How have you managed to get? How low have you managed to get the miles per gallon? How the fuck would I know how to calculate that shit? You put the foot down till the fucking light comes on. Fuck's sake. Car's going fine, yeah. Driving it more than I thought it would be. You know, because you go to get in your other shitty car and you're like, well, this is some bullshit. I'll just drive the fast one. So I don't know about the miles per gallon, but it's not as bad as I thought. There's probably some way to check that, but again, I don't know anything about cars. I basically looked at that one and went, that's loud and black. Guess it. If restrictions are to be lifted, any plans to resurrect the comedy nights again? Yes. We're organising a couple of dates for December. There was chat of us trying to do gigs on the 27th, which is the day that the fucking thing, the whole thing like lifts, the whole lockdown lifts. But I think it's a bit rude, isn't it? It's sort of reeks of like, oh, you don't give a shit about anyone if you're just doing a gig on that exact day. But sort of why not? But we're going to do some Christmassy do type things running up to Christmas, probably all socially distanced, I would imagine. What did you think of the Comedy Store documentary? I thought it was amazing. Yeah, it was fucking great. Like, it's just such a crazy building with such a ridiculous history. Like, and it'll probably, it'll probably shut down, I would imagine. You know what I mean? Joe Rogan has moved to fucking Texas, so the comedy community will probably move with him. And now any cunt will be able to get a gig in the Comedy Store. You'll be able to turn up, beat your way through a bunch of fucking crack zombies in LA, and then, you know, get your photo on stage like this. I played the Comedy Store. Doesn't matter anymore. Not a question, but watched the last solo podcast with my 50-year-old dad, and you brought up old people eating Muller rice, and he was absolutely fuming. He was slobbering about it. 50's not old. 50's not that old. He's slobbering about it so much that I had to be sick in the sink from laughter. He took it so bad that he got rid of the 12-pack of Muller rice he just bought and was asking me where I get my protein shakes. Like, they'll take a few years off him. So cheers for it. Near blew my back out from laughing at the cunt's midlife crisis. Oh, that's hilarious. 50's not that old though, you know what I mean? Like, I was talking more, I was slabbing about my own granny at the time, and she's fucking deep 80s, like. So, have you seen Auntie Donna's new Netflix show? What do you think of that style of comedy? I'll be honest, I put the first one on the other night, pissed myself. Very funny. What's this? Can I click that? No, thanks. Oh, fuck, I can't get in it, bastard. Right, speed it up, Colin, let's go. Would you rather sit on your face? Who would you rather sit on your face, Cardi B or Megan Thee Stallion? I mean, it's much of a muchness, isn't it? Bad joke someone sent me there. Have you watched The Cabin with Bert Kreischer? Yeah, it was weird as fuck. Let me see. Should have added these before. What do you think of a Telegraph building comedy night? Had thought about it. In the round, bitch. Go full Dave Chappelle. Have a wee walkway out to the middle and be like, what's up, guys? What about Arlene Foster? Isn't he attractive? The podcast with Mickey had me pissing myself laughing. Any plans to get the lads back on for more hilarious madness? Yes, you fucking... I spat on my own face. I'm so angry. Yes. There's no fucking plan. Like, the podcast is my podcast, and if it's handy for someone to come on, then they'll be on. But I'm not. I don't. There's not a schedule, or schedule. What's the word? They've either sort of sometimes been on or not for about fucking 6 years now. If they're on, of course they'll be on again. But it all just depends whether, you know, whether it happens or not. Jesus Christ. Have you seen your man's house in Ardenvohr? What? Street in Belfast? Yes, I clicked on that earlier. The guy has a big weird house that he done art to. Oh, finally, last question. Why don't you and Mickey have your own podcast? Binged all of them over lockdown and everyone had me in tears. But yeah, very funny guys. Because I would be gifting him a career. No, not really. Because, I don't know. He has one with Connor Keys. I don't know. I don't know why. I don't have a permanent one with Mickey. Probably could. But I don't know. I don't know what it is. We do get on like a house on fire. You know, we go back and forward at each other quite violently. There's not many other comedians we can do that with. But I don't know. I don't know why. Because also it would be very much still my podcast, but he would be there. That's how I would feel. Because obviously he's going to come to my office with my gear and record our podcast. So there's still a lot of that vibe going on. So he can just come on mine whenever he's free. That's fine. Have I been invited on their fucking podcast that may or may not be a conspiracy or real? No. Because that's their own little world. But yeah. I think it's just everyone has their own shit now, and they're too established. Also, I don't want to get into the world of like, oh, I do 7 podcasts a week. I don't want to be doing that shit. But anyway, that was the final question. Know what I mean? Slow in it. They don't call me Timbaland for nothing, do they? Anyway, that was the end of the questions. I'm going to go and think long and hard about why people want podcasts from other people more than they want to listen to this podcast. But that's fine. That's fine. These other people have their podcasts. They have their own podcasts. Yes, I'm going to get the fuck out of here. Guys, cheers for listening. Cheers to all the new sign-ups on Patreon. If you want to get more stuff, it's patreon.com/General Banter. Congas.com for the merch. And shout out to our sponsors as usual. FlowCBDLTD.com. If you're on my Patreon, you will get a discount code for that. And also, it's the pinned post. It's at the top of all the posts. And manscaped.com. Put in the code GenBant1 to get 20% off. You get 20% off the price. You shave your pubes. You add 20% off onto your cock piece. We also got like verified by them. So like it wasn't, you know, you get like a test period. And if you sell a certain amount, they're like, yeah, welcome on board. And we smashed it. Bush. So they're like, Bush? No Bush. So they're like, yeah, welcome on board, guys. And they're like, yeah, we got that initial rush out of the way. You know, we sold tons of them. And then they're like, now the sponsorship starts. So buy some fucking ball shavers for Christmas, my guys. But that's it. We'll see you next week. Or we'll see you probably Thursday or Friday if you're on the Patreon. And keep your eye on ColinGeddis.com because we're getting new merch up the day. Cheers, guys.